Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. I've got Luke Acree and Andrew Saksa.
Yes, sir. You got it.
On the show with us of ReminderMedia. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. Excited to be here.
All right, break down the importance of developing strong marketing to increase access to the generational wealth that can be also so elusive.
Oh, no, yeah, I love it. So guys, to give you kind of a background of who we are, we're ReminderMedia, we do marketing. Our belief is, and hopefully I don't go on a rant here, but 90% of marketing is irrelevant today. It's irrelevant, meaning the average human being is seeing, supposedly, if you believe statistics, is supposedly seeing 5,000 marketing messages a day. Now, if I asked you and the people listening to this to tell me 3 that they saw yesterday, they'd probably struggle. And why is that? Well, that is because it's not relevant to you. Meaning, if you buy a car today and you watch a car commercial tomorrow, you've wasted 15 seconds of your life because you're in no need for the car. And so the struggle with marketing today and why it's so critical that advisors and really businesses wake up to understanding relevancy of marketing and the power of strong marketing like you're talking about is that it's all about being relevant. And when you get relevancy, you get shelf life, and ultimately you get an audience, right? And so, what Andrew and I really coach advisors on and coach insurance agents is how do you connect with your database of people in a relevant way? Because if you put stuff in front of people that's relevant, that's impactful, that will lead to advocacy. And that's really what you're looking for. It's really, how do you create raving fans out of your database of clients? Because if you send something impactful and that's relevant, people will hang on to it. And if they hang on to it, you're top of mind, you're branded in front of them, and they'll think of you. And not only will they think of you, they'll want to reciprocate to you. It will trigger that reciprocity effect. And they'll want to reciprocate to you. And that usually is in the form of a referral or, even more importantly, repeat business. And so it's really, really critical that you do not only marketing in your business, but in this new age of business, do relevant marketing. And I always tell people, there's the industrial revolution. We're now in the data revolution. We're in the revolution. The reason why Facebook is blowing up like it's blowing up is because what do they have? They have data. And they have data that they didn't sell to advertisers like Andrew and I to serve relevant content and relevant marketing in front of people. And it's the same for your database. You might not have as much data as an advisor, but you have a CRM that you should be tracking people's birthdays, their life events. You should be tracking the last time you talked to them, what was the conversation? Are their kids graduating from school? And then that can teach you how to do strong marketing, as you say, because it's relevant marketing. And relevant marketing creates impact, which leads to advocacy. So a little bit of a rant there for you, but that's what I would say to begin with.
It was a good drill down on it. Now let's go a little further. You help financial advisors and business professionals stay connected with their top clients to generate more business. Open that door for me.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm going to let you take that one away, man.
All right, great. So basically, when it comes to a financial advisor, they really do have 2 important things that they're always trying to address. Number 1, get more referrals from their top A-book clients and spheres. And number 2, prevent the ACAT that you touched on earlier, where you have this $31 trillion worth of wealth being passed down to the baby boomer or from the baby boomer generation to the X generation, my generation. And what will traditionally happen is the financial advisor doesn't necessarily do anything wrong. They just don't have the ability to connect to both halves of the household as well as the adult child. So when something does happen, life event, the male head of the household does pass on, if that financial advisor hasn't done a strong enough job of connecting to the spouse, as well as that son or executor of that will, most of the time, that son's going to start reaching out to mom and saying, hey, dad's advisor was great, but we just don't have a relationship there. And since we're now going to be the ones taking care of you, mom, let's bring our accounts and your accounts over here to our guy that we work with at Morgan Stanley or wherever. So we do a great job of helping connect to both halves of the household as well as that next generation. And the other big issue we hear with financial advisors on a day-to-day basis is they want to be able to utilize that top A book relationships that they've worked so hard to build and maintain. And we give them a tool that will allow them to leverage those accounts to reach some of the other top people that are in those circles. So the best example I traditionally give is a financial advisor probably has a few doctor accounts, a few attorney accounts, some CPA accounts, maybe some small business owner accounts. And there's always 2 or 3 other practitioners or friends or colleagues that are right there in that circle that first of all value that client's opinion, have about the same amount of assets, and third of all, wouldn't mind at all if they had some unique way to be able to approach that individual rather than just picking up a telephone, calling them out of the blue. And that's what we provide. We provide that warm introduction in a very quality manner to be able to begin that relationship.
How does that work?
I feel like I should do a drum roll here. Maybe not. It's like,
I mean, you got me. I'm asking the right question. How does it work?
Yeah, we do that through a tool called American Lifestyle Magazine. So it's a 48-page coffee table publication, right? It's all about celebrating life in America. It's very lifestyle driven, so it's not financial related. It's travel, art, food, recipes. There'll be stuff like old time baseball in there. A little bit of everything for everybody. The unique thing about it is it's not traditional advertising from the standpoint of the advisor taking out an ad in the magazine. It literally is the advisor's magazine. We basically white label a magazine for advisors. So we literally put all this energy and effort, and actually I have one, I'll show you guys on the screen. We put all this energy and effort into putting this really high quality coffee table magazine together and then make it look like it's the advisor's magazine. Like they put it together, it's a gift coming from the advisor to their client. It goes out 6 times a year. And the main reason we've seen a ton of success with it is because, going back to kind of what we had touched on a little earlier, is that it's totally about the relationship and what's of value to your client, not necessarily about pushing the latest product. Does that make sense? Meaning, like, that's what drives the shelf life of it, where traditionally you send a brochure, you send an email, nothing wrong with those things. We coach people how to use those. But the reality is the typical postcard or email has a 5 to 8 second shelf life. Our shelf life of this magazine is tracked to be about 4 to 6 weeks. The read time on average per client is 44 minutes. So give you kind of a little comparison, the average sitcom on TV is 18 minutes. So they're spending 2 sitcoms worth of time with you over the course of 4 to 6 weeks. But most importantly, what we're seeing from our client database is that we work with over 35,000 businesses. And the statistics we see from a return on investment standpoint is we see a 38% referral rate. So what that means is if you send to, let's say, 50 of your best clients for 6 issues, you should be seeing about 38% referrals coming from that 50 clients. So you're looking around 19 referrals. Now keep in mind, and I always tell advisors this, that those aren't closed deals. So I don't know your closing rate, and each person listening to this would have to plug in their own closing rate of how many referrals they closed. But the idea there is that because it's centered around the relationship, it's centered around giving, almost like the thought process of I'm going to give, and give, not take, and take. I'm not going to push my products necessarily, even though you should send product information every once in a while. You're more connecting at the relationship level, and you can leverage it because, like Andrew was saying, most advisors are only talking to the account holder. So they usually only talk to one spouse. And, obviously we all know the statistics that when that spouse passes away, that's the ACAT that's coming across your desk because you've never had a conversation with the other. This, as simplistic as it is really just an easy conversation piece. So many of our advisors use this as a way to pick up the phone, like my advisor, pick up the phone, call my wife, Megan. And literally just, hey, Megan, I was touching base with you. The reason why I wanted to reach out is I just got my latest issue of American Lifestyle Magazine. I know I'm sending it to you guys, and I wanted to check in and see how things were going, make sure you were getting it. If you liked it, there was actually a great recipe in there because my wife loves to cook. She's an awesome cook. And so, talk about a recipe, something that's more relationship driven. And because she is now having a conversation with the advisor, with nothing else, it's just giving you that ability to build that relationship. So you're not just Luke's advisor, you're Luke and Megan's advisor. And not only that, think about my father's advisor. if my father's advisor maybe has never talked to me, and this gives a soft, non-salesy way to get in front of me without it being like he's trying to, be my financial advisor right away or trying to push product on me. He's just trying to introduce himself to me.
Yes, it's definitely opening the door to be more than the advisor, to be their friend, actually to participate in their family. And that's where you're making the connection. I get it.
Yep. I always tell, advisors all the time when we're talking to them is that you can't control the market. Meaning like the market is going to go up and down. We all know that. You can't control it. So when the market tanks, right, and we're all talking about how it's going to turn, no one can predict when, but it's going to turn here soon, right? And when that happens, if you're just a vendor to your clients, meaning if you're just someone who services money and puts money in the market and takes it out and all that, you're going to be replaced by the latest, greatest, either technology or the newest or the best salesman next to you that's going to convince them that they could have done a better job with their money. If you're the advisor that takes me fishing, has a drink with me, knows my kids, knows my family, it's a lot harder for me to move my money because you're Andrew, my friend, not just Andrew, my advisor. And so many times in business, we lose because we focus so much on pitching our products, not on building relationships. And it's such a catch-22 because if you build relationships, the results of building relationships is people know you, like you, and trust you, so they buy from you. But if you focus on pitching your product, yeah, they might know you, but they have no real connection, so they don't really like and trust you, so they end up moving when something bad happens.
Right.
And I've said that, that sums it all up. I want to invite both of you back so that we can start drilling down in some of the finer points that we brought to the table today.
Love it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
I'm glad you're both here, and I want to see you back again. All right, you've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.